or similarly, Arjuna is also directed to use his lost, no? Any other thing? Then Harshavardhan Prabhuji, have you thought something?
Yes, Prabhuji, I'm thinking. So, I want to add something, Hare Krishna.
Just to
the lost is a perfected reflection of the love of Godhead, Krishna. So, it is the perfected reflection. And if this love is transferred into lost, then it cannot be satisfied. It always wants demand, always wants material satisfaction lost. So when you transfer our serving attitude to Krishna, then the lost becomes love. So in this material world, there is no love, or the only lost is there. So love is only meant for Krishna in different relationships. And that point also I am getting. Any other, if it is okay, you can also say that.
we have only 45 seconds. Should I present Prabhu? Sunanda Das Prabhu?
Yes, whatever I present, is it acceptable or not, I don't know, but I say that. Yeah. Yes. Lost is the perfect reflection of the love of Krishna God. We can also have the principle, this principle on the text. And when lost come, it is the greatest enemy. It is the greatest enemy in this material world.
Should I present these views?
Yes, Prabhuji, no problem.
Thank you.
Recording in progress.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Oh. Hare Krishna, is everyone back?
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay, good. So let's hear from group number 1.
Rishikesh Prabhu, are you from group 1?
No, I'm from group 2.
Okay, group 2 is also the same verse, right?
Yes.
Verse number 37, right?
That's correct, Maharaj.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. Maharaj, what we identified as the general principles were that the lust is nitya varina, it's eternal enemy. It covers the knowledge. It cannot be satisfied. Originates from mode of passion. And if left unfulfilled, it turns to anger. And the second part of the question was, how will you apply these principles in your own Krishna consciousness? The answer we worked out as a team was that the mode of passion needs to be converted to mode of goodness. And the practical way is to desire to do everything for Krishna, surrender everything to Krishna. whether you are in work or whether you are in any of the services, give the results to Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhu. Yes, there's another group also on the same verse, group number 1. Is there a spokesman there from group number 1?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yes, you can add something to this?
Yeah, Maharaj, we came to the conclusion that the general principle, this last is the only enemy for our material bondage. So last develops, it's a perverted condition of love of Krishna when we try to enjoy this material world. Then the last develops, and unsatisfied lust leads to wrath. And since everything is originated in Krishna, that is said that Janmadi Asya Jato Anvayatitarastascha. So last has its origin also in Krishna. We can again convert this lust into love by following some prescribed activities and living in the standard method. The next part of the question, that how we can apply in our Krishna consciousness movement. So we have to reduce our tendency to dominate this material nature through following the principles as laid down by Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, and as prescribed by Mahaprabhu through the chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra.
Okay, very nice. Nice to see your different versions from the same verse, but the principles are common. That both groups, they brought out the fact that we have to become focused more on Krishna. We have to hear more about Krishna. We have to chant about Krishna, work for Krishna. And we have to be very much aware of the danger which comes in the form of unsatisfied lust, which transforms into anger. And so we should be very cautious to avoid these things. We want to deal very carefully with the material energy, not to become overwhelmed by lust and then become degraded into, influenced by the mode of ignorance and anger. It's not good, not Krishna conscious. All right? We'll go ahead. Let's hear from the other group, groups 3 and 4, who are doing text number 39.
Yes, we want to hear.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, we were doing verse number 39. So the very first thing is here, lust. Lust is, leading us towards the material sense gratification for self. So, and lust cannot be satisfied. So, it is like never-ending fuel. Like we keep, adding fuel, petrol into the fire. So it keeps, growing up. So what is happening here is that on the advancement of material civilization, on the basis of sense gratification is increasing. So what we have to do it, like this sense gratification, we have to control our senses. So in the last chapter we had a example of Ambrish Maharaj, that how all of his senses he controlled and devoted all of his senses into the devotion of Lord Krishna. So that's how he was able to control his anger, lust and everything, and really spiritually advanced on that platform. So this is the one thing. So these are the things, if you engage all of your senses into Krishna consciousness, then you can become a Sthit Dhir Muni. So that is how it goes. And the very thing which we discussed is if we would have to engage in seva also. So seva is also one thing which we can always do, and our senses, our lust will be kept under control, so that we can advance on spiritual platform and not fall down into the materialistic things.
So you're saying we can conquer lust by being properly engaged in devotional service.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Do you think everyone has the ability to engage in devotional service?
Yes, Maharaj.
Yeah.
We all have a seed that has to be watered, and then I think everybody has a natural inclination towards, towards happiness, towards goodness. So if we know that what is the proper way that we can, definitely water that thing and that can be brought out.
Okay. Yes. We all have an attraction to enjoy beautiful things, and Krishna is the most beautiful. So naturally we want to be attracted by Krishna. So hearing about Krishna. Okay, thank you very much. Let's hear from the other group who were also doing 39.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, we were also doing the same verses, group 3.39.
Yes. Did you have any different points?
I'm not sure, but then can I present the points?
Yes.
Okay, so we went through the purpose and we found few points that actually stood out. So first thing is that exactly how Pihu Mataji had told, it's like lust is a fire that will never extinguish even if we keep on giving it fuel. So fuel is how we are trying to satisfy our lust, and fire is the lust. And the second thing is that it's mentioned that advancement of material civilization on the basis of sense gratification means increasing the duration of material existence of living entity. It means that when we are advancing in this material civilization on the basis of sense gratification, that is that if when we are advancing while satisfying our senses, it clearly means that we are increasing the duration of our existence, of our material existence as a living entity in this material world. So we are getting even far away from going back to Godhead because we are increasing the duration of our material existence. So the next thing is that lust is the symbol of ignorance by which living entities kept within the material world. Just like the last point, it's just telling that lust is the reason or the symbol of ignorance by which the living entity is kept inside the material world for a longer time. So it is said that while one enjoys sense gratification, you might feel a little happy, you might feel like really happy, but actually that happiness that you're feeling, it's not exactly the pure happiness. It's actually your ultimate enemy of this enemy, because it's just getting you away from the absolute happiness that is Krishna. So if you're having lust that and you're feeling happy of that, it's not actually happiness, but it's actually taking you away from the real happiness that is going back to our eternal home, that is Goloka Vrindavan.
So are you saying that we should go back and live in the caves then? It sounds like you're against material advancement of civilization. Do you want us all to become primitive again?
No, not exactly, but like as we all know, while doing work, we can actually connect it with Krishna. Whatever work we do, we can actually connect it with Krishna. In that way, we are doing our work to sustain ourselves. At the same time, we are trying to connect with Krishna so that we go back to Godhead.
No. So how are we going to put up with the material world then? Because you said material advancement of civilization is going to keep us in material existence, going to prolong our material existence.
So for that we need to do more, like how Pihu Mataji had told, we need to do more sevas, like more services unto the Lord, so that we don't like completely get immersed in the material civilization based on our sense gratification.
So we have to be very careful.
Yeah.
You have to be very careful. It's like playing with fire, but not get burned.
Yeah.
So you're not against material advancement?
I mean, I'm against it, but then like we can't entirely avoid it also since we are living in this material world. Only thing that we can do is that we can try to be careful and stay away from it as much as possible and try to do our Krishna consciousness activities more sincerely and properly.
Okay. So your solution to conquering lust?
Yeah, I think. I'm not sure.
What is the best program to conquer lust?
Engaging yourself in Krishna consciousness. That's what I think.
Just be fully engaged in Krishna.
Yeah.
Okay. So no time for anything else, only Krishna.
Yeah.
So you don't work, you don't have a job.
I don't have a job.
You don't study.
I mean, I do study. I study.
Oh, you do study.
Yeah.
Only Bhagavad Gita.
No, I actually study this material things also, like for the school.
Oh, okay.
But like as I'm taking this course, I'm trying to, while studying also, I'm trying to actually engage myself in studying Krishna consciousness too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Maharaj.
All right, then we have the other two groups who were dealing with text number 41. Yes?
Yes, Prahlad.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So our group, first we decided to understand what lust means and where it came from. So of course, in text 37, it's mentioned lust is actually eternal love for Krishna, except it comes in contact with the mode of passion, so it becomes lust. And the nature of lust in text 41, it's described that lust destroys the urge for self-realization and specific knowledge of the self. So it sort of draws us away from Krishna. And then we try to figure out how we can solve this problem. And there we saw that, lust, we shouldn't have this mentality that I'm having this desire today, and if I satisfy that desire, this desire will go away. Because lust is like it's like fire, and then we satisfying these desires is like pouring petrol into it, and that's only going to make it worse. So we should not do that. Rather, in text 41, it says that the Lord advised Arjuna to regulate the senses from the very beginning, so that he could curb the greatest sinful enemy. So the way to stopping lust is to regulate the senses. And also, I think the Lord Hanuman is also given as an example. I think it's in text 38, text 37 and 38, where Hanuman used his wrath, and wrath is like when it comes in contact with the mode of ignorance. So Hanuman used his wrath in the service of Lord Ram. So in our group, we discussed and we came to the conclusion that we can also engage ourselves in devotional service, and we have to dovetail our desires, towards Krishna consciousness. Like if you have a desire to eat something, we eat prasadam instead. So in this way, we don't get any bad reactions. Rather, it's purifying to ourselves. And also one of our group members came up with a verse, a part of a verse, Hrishikena Rishikesha Sevanam Bhaktir Uchate. So if you want to control our senses, then we have to continuously perform devotional service to Hrishikesha, the master of the senses.
Mm-hmm. So your method in conquering lust is regulation of the senses.
Yes, Maharaj. And also dovetailing the senses to Krishna consciousness.
Okay. And at the same time, regulating the senses in such a manner that the senses are used in Krishna conscious activities.
Yes, Maharaj.
Okay. All right, the other group, final group.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Can I speak?
Yes, please.
Here, this is the conclusion of about the lust enemy as our enemy. So here I found around 7 principles. As lust is the destroyer of knowledge and self-realization, that is the first principle. And then in the purport, this Krishna himself says, and then in the purport, Lord advised Arjuna to control, to regulate his senses from the very beginning. And the second principle is that knowledge of spirit, that we are not the body, we are spirit soul. So jnana refers to that. That is the second principle. Third principle, we found the living entity is the part and parcel of Lord, and he is simply meant to serve the Lord. So that is the third principle. And lust is only the pervaded in reflection of love of God. So that is the fourth principle, which is the natural enemy to living entities. Then fifth principle is the God consciousness. We should go for very beginning. That is to get the natural love of God, unless to get entitled with lust. So that is fifth learning. Sixth learning is when love of God deteriorates into the lust, then it is very, very difficult to control and come back to the normal condition. That is our sixth learning. And then seventh learning is that so we should start learning in the right from the beginning and turn the lust into the that is eighth one, turn the lust into love of God. That is the highest perfection state of human life. So we got 8 principles from the purport, right from Lord Krishna to Srila Prabhupada's teaching, and how to follow these principles, how to in our practice. So first we should desire, whatever desire comes in mind due to senses, it should be an offering to Krishna. Suppose we want to eat gulab jamun, so we should offer it to Krishna, then we should accept it. So to a pilgrimage, we should suppose we we are bound in material world and we have some family function, marriage in some place, so we have to go there. But if we do it as an offering to Krishna, if we go, suppose we are going some in North India, in Lucknow, and we can go to Naimisharanya or nearby places where pilgrimage is there. So in that way, we can convert our desires into an offering to Krishna. And then second is senses should be engaged in Krishna's service. Like eyes should be engaged in reading and having darshan of Lord. Ears should be engaged in hearing and and tongue should be engaged in eating prasadam and speaking about the glories of Krishna or telling about Krishna to anyone. Like feet can be engaged in going to the temple, and like this way we can use our senses, and we can use even our capabilities, our talents. Suppose someone is good in singing, so he can sing for Krishna. He can he don't sing about film songs. He should sing about Krishna songs. If someone is good in art, so like I am an artist. I used to I'm teaching from last 20 years to small children, 22 years. Arts, but now I'm teaching in Krishna consciousness also through ISKCON Chennai. I'm making art videos for them. So in this way, they can use this. I practically inculcate in my talent, although I'm running my art classes also, but trying to attract those children towards so that they can also use from the beginning their talent into Krishna's service. So in that way, we can use from very beginning, like Bhakti Prahlad classes are there. So I'm a teacher of Bhakti Prahlad class also through ISKCON Chennai. So in that way, we can give Krishna to all small children, those who are born in a material family, not in a devotee family. So these are the principles what we can follow. And one last thing I want to say, as Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said that use everything, each and everything in service of Krishna. Even he used his car, even he used his shoes for everything for service of Krishna. He sets an example for us.
So can we use lust also in the service of Krishna? The gopis.
Yes, towards love. Like we should make our lust into love of Krishna. By loving Krishna, by loving devotees, by loving each and every living entity, like even the insects also, everything.
Because the gopis, they had lust for Krishna, right? The gopis, they had lust for Krishna.
Yes.
So their lust was also was directed towards Krishna.
So that was devotees' love towards Krishna. So it converted into the love.
Yeah, in the pure form, it's love. All right, thank you very much. You did a very detailed analysis. Very nice. Very good. Thank you so much.
All glories to Guru Maharaj, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Yeah, very nice to hear from you. You have a lot of ideas how to utilize everything in Krishna's service. Right?
Thank you. Thank you, Maharaj.
So we should note from this the nature of lust and how it's the eternal enemy. It burns like fire, never satisfied. Where is it located? It's in the senses, it's in the mind, and it can be in the intelligence also. So Lord Krishna has given us a lot of information about lust. He's identified the enemy, and he's told us where we can find it. And he's also told us how we can conquer it, right? We have to cultivate transcendental knowledge, and we have to regulate the senses. And in this way we will conquer over this all-devouring sinful enemy, which takes away all of our Krishna consciousness. All right? So we'll just continue for a little while. Oh. Well, maybe it's a bit... All right, someone like to read for us the yoga systems?
Yes, Manish,
Yes, Hare Krishna Maharaj. Factually, Bhakti Yoga is the ultimate goal, but to analyze Bhakti Yoga minutely, one has to understand these other yogas. 6.47 purport.
Keep reading.
In the previous chapter, as a prelude to the Bhagavad Gita, many different paths were explained. This was all presented unsystematically. A more organized outline of the path would be necessary for action and understanding. In other words, by his question, he is clearly the path of Krishna consciousness, clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all students who seriously want to understand the mystery of the Bhagavad Gita.
Right. So we want to see the progression here between chapters 3 to chapter 6. Chapter 3 was on Karma Kanda and Karma Yoga. Then chapter 4 goes into Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga is higher on the yoga ladder than Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is the yoga of activities, but there's no knowledge. But chapter 4 brings us to the platform of Jnana. And then chapter 5 is Karma Sannyas Yoga, which is about, it's actually Jnana Yoga because it's giving up work. Jnana yogis generally, they don't work, they just stop. They think no point to do anything. They have knowledge. And then chapter 6 will go on and we'll hear about Dhyana Yoga, meditation. So that's what's there for us. So the Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Karma Sannyas Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, right? You can see there's a progression there, higher and higher. From Karma Yoga to Jnana Yoga, and then to Karma Sannyas Yoga, and then to Dhyana Yoga. When you get that knowledge, then you meditate on the Super Soul. That is chapter 6. All right, so we're going to stop here. We'll continue from this point tomorrow, and we'll hear more about the yoga processes, Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga. Right? Karma Yoga, remember? Is everyone clear? Karma Yoga means performing your duty in a detached manner, not being attached to the result. Jnana Yoga, cultivating knowledge, and Dhyana Yoga, meditation. Oh, another exercise in your group. Okay, well that's tomorrow. We'll do that tomorrow. Are there any questions today? Everyone's okay? You learned about lust. You learned about the 3rd chapter. The end of the 3rd chapter, we hear about lust. And we heard about the importance of showing the example, the acharya principle, working to teach others. Better to show by example rather than to just give instructions. Actually, we could just mention here today, maybe you can think about this tomorrow. Then we don't have to spend much time on it. But you can think over about a 3-minute drama showing the yoga process, right? And there are 3 different processes. There's the 3 yoga processes: Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga. You can think how to present a 3-minute drama showing the yoga processes. Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, and Dhyana Yoga. Karma, Jnana, and Dhyana. So, think about how to do one of these dramas. Or you can think about all 3. Then show us how to present these yoga systems to other people. There's Karma Yoga, text 48, Karma Yoga. Perform your duty, Arjuna, abandoning all attachment to success or failure. Don't be attached to the result. Such equanimity is called yoga. What kind of yoga? Karma Yoga. Unattached to you do your duty, equipoised. So this is Karma Yoga. And then Jnana. Jnana refers to knowledge of the self as distinguished from non-self, or in other words, knowledge that the spirit soul is not the body. And here's the verse you all know from the 2nd chapter, the Jnani. He understands he's not the body. So Jnana Yoga is a linking process. Empirically, it is called Jnana Yoga. When the linking process is predominantly empirical, it is called Jnana Yoga. Based on observation. When the linking process is based on observation. How to do Jnana Yoga? Here is a well-known verse, 5th chapter. The process of Jnana Yoga, you don't take part in the sources of misery due to contact with the material senses. Such pleasures have a beginning and an end. The wise man does not delight in them. And then Dhyana Yoga, what do you have to do? You have to meditate, you have to have a deer skin, you have to go away to a secluded place and put your deer skin on the ground with a cloth, and you should sit on it, and you should practice yoga. Fix the mind on one point. Okay. So like that, here actually you could say we pretty much covered this chapter, this exercise. We had the overview of the third chapter. The overview of the third chapter began with Karma Yoga, and then we heard about how Karma Kanda comes to Karma Yoga, and then we heard about the importance of setting an example and don't disturb the minds of the attached, and Lord Krishna also shows an example. And then we heard also about the enemy, the all-devouring sinful enemy, lust, and how to conquer lust. And then we had the overview of the progression through chapters 3 to 6. Chapter 3 was Karma Yoga, Chapter 4 was Jnana Yoga, a bit higher, and Chapter 5 was Sannyas Yoga, and Chapter 6 was Dhyana Yoga. And we also showed different verses describing Karma Kanda, Karma Yoga, they're all mentioned there in chapters 3 to 6. And how to practice these different yogas, we showed with the verses. So nothing very difficult there. Contemporary philosophies of life which reflect the principles of these yoga processes. Contemporary philosophies of life reflect the principles. You know, some people practice, we see some people do meditation, the Dhyana Yoga especially, they like to go and meditate, sit and meditate, press the nose, pranayama. Other people, Jnanis, they're studying the Vedanta Sutra, they're studying these books, reflecting on the principle, the message of the Shastra, speculation. And the Karma Yogi, working for the benefit of others, doing work for others, social welfare, Karma Kanda activities, Karma Yoga. Karma Yoga is more connected to working for God, and Karma Kanda is working for benefit of people. General principles from Krishna's analysis of lust. Burns like fire, never satisfied, all-devouring sinful enemy. And the application of principles in our own practice of Krishna consciousness. Right? We want to be regulated, and we want to cultivate spiritual knowledge. We want to be very careful to avoid anger, not allow ourselves to become degraded, don't allow, when we may be influenced by lust, we can be degraded. So we want to avoid all that, be very conscious how to avoid lust. All right, are there any questions on this today?
Yes, Maharaj, this is Vajakirtan Prabhu. Hare Krishna, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question, from the beginning of the class, where you told about two types of society, the communist and the capitalist. And their, the consciousness, one being in the Shudra mode, the communist, all they want is a worker class, and the other one focuses more on the business, where it's mixed mode. So I just wanted to know or clarify. Now we generally in the society we have been working. Some companies, everything is salary based remunerations. So what category do we come under? And how do we change if we want to say, suppose one person is a Shudra, how do we qualify to move upwards into the Varnas?
Well, the Varna is actually external. You see, we're more concerned with the internal nature. And our internal nature, we should be cultivating. Internally, we're all servants of Krishna. It's not that we shouldn't just be worrying too much about our situation in the Varnashram, but we're more concerned with our spiritual situation. how we can actually elevate ourselves in the spiritual platform. Lord Chaitanya taught us that he doesn't identify with any varna or any ashram, but he's simply the servant of the servant of the servant of the Supreme Lord Krishna. We want to come to that kind of consciousness. To think about elevating ourselves in the varnas, that can be done, but it's temporary, material. It's not spiritual, these positions in the varnas. A devotee, one who is Krishna conscious, he may be in any of the different varnas. He may be working in a job, and you may say he's a Sudra, but you go home, he worships a deity, and he's very Brahminical in his behavior and culture, although he may be working in a Sudra job. This is Kali Yuga. In the Kali Yuga, everyone is Sudra by birth. So even people who are highly educated, as I said, like engineers or scientists, they may work in a big corporation. They're actually Sudra. They're doing Sudra work. If you want to elevate yourself to a higher level, how do you do it? Well, you have to change your psychophysical nature to some extent. It's not an easy thing to become a businessman or to become a Vaishya, to take up farming and do cow protection and so on. It's nice, but to actually do it, to make a success of it is a challenge. You have to have some experience and some good training in it, and you need a lot of luck also. So, to become a Vaishya is not easy. To become a Kshatriya, to take a Kshatriya position, well, again, you have to have that psychophysical nature, that you're an organizer, you're a manager, you're used to bossing people around and getting people to do things, It's not everyone's nature. And similarly, Brahminical. Not everyone can become a Brahmana. But that doesn't mean they're not devotees. What's important is that people cultivate their Krishna consciousness and become devotees of Krishna, because that's going to make the difference. The Varnashram is going to keep you in the material world, but Krishna consciousness is going to take you back to Godhead. So we want to be thinking about how to elevate our Krishna consciousness, how to become more firmly situated at the lotus feet of Krishna. And we do that by devotional service. The more we're focused on devotional service, then that is actually Krishna, that is the perfection of our spiritual life. The Varnashram principles are there to organize society, and they are external. So externally you work and you do some job, some duty. As I said, we practice Daivi Varnashram. And so you have to be a bit flexible there. You can't think, I'm a Brahmana, I don't do anything else. You have to do what's required, Sometimes you have to think how to do it. Just like Prabhupada sometimes he was looking over the accounts. He was not all the day just only writing books. He was also managing the society, telling people what to do and how to organize the temple and how to keep accounts. And they would ask Prabhupada, can we do this, can we do that? Prabhupada would advise them what kind of things they could do to raise funds and to make money for the society. And so Prabhupada also had some Vaishya experience. Prabhupada used to be a businessman before he became retired. He was running his own business, so he did have some experience in business. And he could, to some extent, he could utilize that in organizing the Krishna consciousness movement. He taught the devotees everything. Whatever money you get, it has to go in the bank. You don't spend it. Whatever money you get, first you put it in the bank, and then you can spend it. Everything has to be recorded. So these kind of things. Details. So if you really want to elevate yourself, like in the varnashram stage, you want to elevate yourself, maybe you want to become a better brahmana. Well, brahmanas, they do 6 duties. They either worship the deity, or they teach others to worship the deity. They study the scriptures, or they teach the scriptures, and they accept charity, and they give charity. So that's really what's allowed for someone who's a strict brahmana. So if you have a wife and family and children and so on, then sometimes it can be a challenge to maintain family when you just do these activities. Unless the temple is cooperative, the temple may be supporting you, they may be providing for you. But it's a challenge sometimes to the Brahminical nature. We see a lot of people who were Brahmanas, they gave up the Brahminical culture in order to maintain their families, to maintain their living on a better standard. We could say, well, they didn't have to do that, but they did it anyway. If you can do it, then very good. Dronacharya, of course, Dronacharya was a Brahmana, and he took up teaching military arts in order to maintain his family. He was teaching use of different weapons. So Brahmana is also to teach. Whatever you know, you teach it to others. That is also Brahminical. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Thank you, Maharaj, so much.
Hare Krishna. Yes, we have some other questions there.
Yes, Maharaj.
Manjari?
Hare Krishna Maharaj, as you asked one question to the group B about that material advancement is not an obstacle towards Krishna consciousness. So I would like to answer that. I don't want to ask, but I want to answer that. That material advancement cannot become an obstacle in Krishna consciousness if it is used in Krishna's service. Like we are using our laptops, that is also material advancement, our iPads, in mobile phones, to connect to Bhakti Sastri classes like that. Everything can be used in Krishna's service. So on that basis, I taught this painting to children through my video. Here, laptop is used to connect the classes, mobile phone to get the link, and guitar can be used for singing Krishna, and even television can be used for getting lectures or stories about Krishna. So this painting, even children, they enjoyed a lot. So just like everything, material advancement can be used in service of Krishna. So lust can be converted into love of God.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you for your painting. Very nice.
All mercy from Krishna, all glories to Vaishnavas from whom I am learning, and all glories to you also, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna. Yes, we have another question here, is it?
Maharaj, in Prema Vivarta, it is mentioned like if one wants to have constant association with the Lord Chaitanya, he should remember the pastime of Lord Chaitanya chastising Junior Haridas, and also Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur saying that we should beat the mind with the broomstick and with the shoes. So this is with regard to lust for devotees. In principle, they don't violate grossly. but there is a great struggle in the subtle level. So could you throw some highlight on this, Maharaj?
Yes, well, it's an ongoing struggle, right? On the subtle level, we always have to be on guard against the mind. And as we said, the lust is not only in the mind, it's also situated in the intelligence as well as the senses. It's there. So pervading the subtle body. So we have to be constantly on guard. That's a principle, that pay attention, be attentive to what's going on around us. And what is our situation? Where is our mind wandering to? What are we doing with the mind? And how are we using our intelligence for Krishna? We want to bring in everything which we have, all of our resources, for the service of Krishna. And so with our intelligence, we want to think about how to serve Krishna. And certainly with the mind, we want to keep that desire. We want to please Krishna, how to please Krishna. And utilizing the senses. Yes, so it's all based on being attentive. Don't be slack. Just like there was one devotee, he used to be a boxer. So he told me, he said, when you go in the ring, the important thing is you have to keep your hands up. You have to keep your guard up. You put your hands up over your face, that's the guard. So the same way in Krishna consciousness, we have to always be on guard against the material energy. And the material energy, remember, is Krishna's energy. It's very powerful, very difficult to overcome, and it can influence even our intelligence. We can become bewildered, and we think that, oh, I don't have to worry, I'm free, I'm Krishna conscious. And so if we're thinking like that, then we're in trouble. If we're thinking, I don't have any problem, I don't have any danger, I'm fine, that's the problem. We always want to be careful, to be on guard and be attentive to the situation. Okay, Prabhu?
Thank you, Maharaj.
All right, any other questions? Okay, then we'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki. Go back to Vrinda ki.
Recording stopped.
Bye.